Welcome to another episode of the Strong Family Project podcast. Today we're going to go over morning routine. How do you set up each individual day for success? To refresh you, we've done core values. We've done our goal setting. It's all going to start coming together and layering on top of each other during these first 7 episodes. Mel, read us in.
Okay, welcome back to the Strong Family Project podcast, where we guide you on the path to raising confident, independent, and resilient children in a strong family environment.
I'll remind you of our podcast rule. When you're listening to the podcast and you pick something up that you find very useful, pause the podcast, write it down, go over to Apple or wherever you're listening to it, give us a comment with what you found valuable. If you're over there and you think we're worth it, hit us with a 5-star review, but comment on the podcast with which bit of information you found most useful. I shared in the last podcast when I was reading a book, and I just dropped the author a little note about the one piece of value that I really got out of it. And sometimes I'll even read a book and I'll hit a sentence that really strikes me. I'll circle it, I'll write it down, and that's where I'll stop for the day, because I want to really focus on that bit of content. I'm not seeing the quantity of books that I can read. I'm seeing the quality of the information that I can pull out. And maybe out of a 300-page book, 1 page was impactful and changed my life. Does that mean it's a garbage book because it was 1 out of 300? Absolutely not. I got some serious value out of a $15, $20 book that would change the direction of where we're headed. It's a free podcast. We're putting this all on, and we want to foot the bill because we think it's very important to help you have an impactful life with your family. In return, we ask that you share what value you're getting out of it. That pays us back in different value other than money. Today, we are going into morning routine, but also we want to thank someone who took the time to drop us a comment. Mel?
Okay, so part of why we're here is from the nudgings of people around us who've kind of seen us parent and see what we do with our family and thought that maybe this would be helpful to other families, which is really why we're here. So we're going to give a shout out to Vince. And I'm going to read a wonderful comment he sent me this morning. Love seeing all the pictures of the podcast. You have so much good to share, and there's a lot of people that are going to be helped through your words and actions, right? I'm proud of you for having the courage to do this and grateful to get to learn how you guys are building such a strong family. Don't let that Joe guy hold you back either. You're the star of the show.
He's right. She's got a full notebook full for today's podcast.
I am ready. But this was exciting. This kind of keeps us going and reminds us of why we're really here. And we're so excited to share. So we're going to get right in it about the morning routine.
Well, before we do that, we're going to leave people on a cliffhanger. This is episode 3. Powerful part of a daily routine, and we'll get to morning specific in a second, is reflection. Giving yourself a score, how'd it go? Being honest with yourself. We are on podcast 3. Mel, rank the first 2 on a scale out of 10.
Okay. The first 2 as a combination?
On a scale out of 10. Not that technical.
I'm still going to go with 6. I felt more confident in the second one, but I think we have growth to make.
I agree, and I'm giving myself a 5 out of 10 for our so far. And the reason why I want to share that reflection and be vulnerable with you is know that we are putting a lot of effort into improving and stepping up every episode. Mel has never done anything like this before. She's coming out of her comfort zone, and we have cameras pointing at us and lights all pointing at us. We have kids here who are helping and watching us. Our technical producer is 13. Our producer is 11. They are working hard, and this is our 3rd stab at it. And after we get through the first 7, I think we're going to start rolling on these topics. These first 7 are a little bit like, here are the lessons we want to teach, like a classroom. These are the things that you really need to get and understand so you can get on the path. We're not talking about what should your values be. We're teaching you how to create your own for your family. We're not going to tell you what the perfect morning routine is. We're going to give you examples from us, and you can create what fits for you. But after those 7, we're going to start diving into Q&A and start tackling some of the tough topics. And so we're really going to start dialing it in with you. And today we're going to move it from a 5 to maybe a 6.
I just think we talk about how every day we should feel at least medium or better. I feel like this is a little bit better than medium, maybe because it's new for me and I'm excited.
I asked the kids what Mel's referencing to. I asked, how's your day? They're not allowed to say bad. Medium or better. You got to get into your mindset. Like, it is what you think of it. What you focus on is what you get, and the real battle is won in your head. So if kids are walking around saying, "Oh, I had a bad day. Oh, today is so terrible. Woe is me." Like, no, today's medium day. I learned some things, didn't go my way, but it was all right.
And my kids know, and you probably do too, I'm huge on silver linings. I think there are things that can happen throughout a day, but you can always find something good that came out of it, even if it wasn't evident at the time. But I think that's a mindset thing.
I could smash my toe on a coffee table. Mel would find the silver linings. Oh, you know what? I've been meaning to move that over 2 inches. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
Always looking for the silver lining. Mel, you've got your notes ready. Dive in.
Okay. So morning routine. I think it's pretty common when kids are little that they have some kind of like a chart where they know what to do in the morning. You give them a task to do. And we've kind of just fleshed that out, maybe because our kids are a little older, but I think even the little one joins in. So it's a great way to start the day, to get a good positive start to the day, to already have accomplished something. And also, as a family unit, it teaches the kids some responsibility and they contribute to the family. So before we get to the kid part, Joe and I have our own morning routine that we do to try to start our day in a good way. I'm a morning person, and I try to get up extra early to have some quiet time before the kids get up so that I can get the right jump start to my day. So I recently decided to start getting up at 5:30 because I needed that extra half an hour to sit down. I get up, I get my coffee going, or our coffee going, right? The full pot that we make every morning.
Thank you.
He does not like it when I make a half pot.
There's extra space in the pot. Just make it.
There's always leftovers. I always feel like I'm
just a
wasting.
press of a button. Go ahead. Stay on task.
Yeah, stay on task. Okay. And we have several books that we read every morning. So we like these one-pager books. So we start with a Daily Stoic, which is a great book about mindset. And then we do a daily creative book. And then I also read a one-page devotional book. And one of my goals for this year was to start to read the Bible. Not necessarily the whole thing in a year, but I set that time in the morning, about 15 minutes or so, to read. Because during the day, it just doesn't happen for me. So I start out my day that way. I also find a joke to put in my kids' lunchbox every day. That's really important. They enjoy that. I enjoy finding it. And usually Joe will wander in during this morning time and I will share the joke with him. So we get a little morning laugh. Or not.
If I put you on the spot,
oh no,
are you going to come up with one of the jokes?
No.
She's done jokes every single day. Never knows a joke.
Oh, I know. Why did the cow swallow a light bulb?
Why?
He wanted a light snack. That might have been one that Logan taught me, actually.
Yeah.
But we've said that one a lot, so that one came to mind.
All right, let's pump the brakes just a little bit.
Okay.
There's a little bit of nuance in there that I think people can benefit from, because this wasn't always true for us. We have to remember way back when Mel used to like to stay up a little bit later, watch some late night TV, and I'd fall asleep at 10. My dad would always say, like, the day's half over by 9. Like, you're sleeping in all day. It's 7:30. So we're always morning people. But what we realized once we had kids is that we had this unfair expectation of the evening hours being super peaceful, and we get to sit around and we get to read and talk and connect. And that wasn't always true. A child would get up, someone would start crying, someone would have an accident, someone would get scared of a monster, and all of a sudden we'd hit bed all stressed out, like, oh, I expected this evening time to be so beautiful and it didn't happen. Woe is me. One of our family core values is be accountable, so we had to own that. We realized it was happening over and over again, where we had this unfair dramatization of how an evening should go. Well, we realized what we can control is the other end of the day. We can get up early and let them sleep in. We can go sit usually we're out sitting on the porch. We drink our coffee. We do our reading and we plan the day. It's not a last minute thing anymore. It used to be. It used to be all frustration because we weren't getting it in. We found the time to make it work and we made it a habit. So we did have to change to make this work.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. And I was even nervous initially, 5:30, it's so early. Is that going to be this and that? And I think I listened to a Huberman podcast about getting up early.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, after about a week, I just adjust to it. Practically wake up then anyway. Sometimes you have to kind of scoot me out to get out of bed, but I never regret it. I always feel better when I've had that time in the morning. Sometimes on the weekends when I sleep in a little bit and then a kid will get up immediately and I'm like, no, I should have just gotten up early. So it helps me set up the day for myself, and then I can give more to the kids because I've kind of taken care of me in the morning. And then around 6:20 during the school week, I get the kids up. And as soon as they come upstairs, so they actually have a piece of their workout that they do. So their bedrooms are downstairs.
Let's break it up like this. Let's do ours, and then we will do theirs separately so it doesn't gel together in their minds.
Okay, so stick with ours. So get up, get the coffee going, sit down at the table, read those few books I mentioned, and then I read the Bible for a little bit longer. And then I find the joke for the kids' lunchbox. Joe and I sometimes will have a little conversation based on whatever is in the books, or if something comes up or something we have to discuss for the day. And then we finally do a journal. And I only started doing this a few months ago. It's basically the tasks for the day that are most important for me to accomplish that day. It helps me stay focused. Joe's had his journal for much, much longer, and I just kind of watched him do it. And I thought, you know what? I need to get on this because it really has helped me to stay accountable for what things I need to get done in that particular day. Is there anything I'm missing?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple examples for the journaling. Mine is typically the biggest 5 to 7 tasks that I need to get done that day on one side, and then my workout on the other side. So I write out the morning workout, I write out my daily tasks, start with focus. And I don't typically write a to-do list. That might be your thing. It's not my thing. I think I can figure out the to-dos on the fly to accomplish those tasks. So if my goal is to film and edit a podcast with Mel, I'm not going to say, I'm going to set up the lights. I'm going to turn on my laptop. I'm not going to write everything out because I want to think higher level. And so it doesn't feel overwhelming. It's just a small list of the major movers for that day.
Okay, great. So then after all that happens, I'll go and wake up the kids around a little after 6. And they get up, they brush their teeth. And the one thing that we implemented with them was they do a short morning workout. So Joe's a trainer. He came up with a workout for them, and it's quick. I think that might sound overwhelming, but it's like 5 minutes maybe.
Sam, what you do, we do. And then
no, we finished that.
You're not going to include their meal prep or anything like that?
Oh, well, I guess I do that when they're upstairs. I do make their lunches for school.
All right, let's put a pin in. I guess that's all we do. We wake up, read a little, journal a little, and then we get into the day. The point is we can control the mornings. For the kids, they wake up. Mel gets them going. They have a brief 5 to 10 minute bout of exercise. We're not expecting tremendous results, but nor are we going to set them up for failure and say, here's a 1 hour workout you need to do at 5 a.m. We're just going to do constant gentle pressure to nudge them forward so that they know that exercise is important to their lives. And through these small steps, they can see a little bit of progress. Now, the actual exercise, we change them based on the family meeting. We might change them every quarter or even every 6 months, not that often, because we don't want them to do a ton of thinking. They get up, they do body weight squats, they do plank. Logan does hangs from the bar. Henry does pull-ups. Did I miss anything? Was that it?
No, it's just we're making it a habit. It's part of their morning routine.
That's right. They own it. Logan's gesturing to our video producer, Logan, at 13, is gesturing to us that we might be missing something on the morning exercise routine. But they go ahead and do that while one of them does their toothbrushing.
Yep.
Brushes their teeth. I'm going to get the wrong teeth word there. And the other one does the workout, and then they switch. And that's how long it takes. However, it is ingrained. They don't miss any days. And that's the point of making a daily habit. Like Henry's taught us, it happens every day. And it's not going to happen every day if you make it super complicated and a real pain to do, where it's so much friction for them to do that it's just not enjoyable at all. It's very minimum effective dose. Yeah, they'll go play sports after school and all those other things. But let's start the day. Let's get the blood flowing, because as many parents may have realized, if you just have a child wake up and say they come into the kitchen, they usually come in, all groggy, and they plop down. Oh, I could really use some breakfast. Like, what, did you just work the night shift at the coal mine? Like, you just happened to walk up a flight of stairs with a comfortable blanket and have a seat. They don't do that anymore, because they get up, they have energy because they expended a little energy during their workout. So it was a common thing that we saw where kids would just wake up tired. Like, we'd wake up tired, but instead we're waking up with purpose. After their exercise. Go ahead.
Okay, they come on upstairs, and Joe had mentioned to me years ago, where, I don't know where you heard this, but when someone that you love walks into a room, you should act excited to see them. Not act excited, but be excited. And so I started this thing, I'm not sure how long ago, but whenever they'd come into the kitchen, I immediately turn to them, get up, and I give them a hug. And if I ever forget, they notice. And it's an exciting way, because I am excited to see them. And that's kind of become part of our morning routine. So as soon as I see them, as soon as you see your kid, even if maybe you had a rough morning or a rough night, like, even if you feign excitement, like, it gives you this energy boost. So I love seeing them when they first come in. Give them a hug.
It's a beautiful reminder. I've noticed, and this, I don't want to get into a whole nother podcast topic, but I'll mention this quickly. A speed bump to avoid is to take for granted the people that are around you and in your life. Sometimes you get too comfortable and you don't do the acts of appreciation, and you don't say the pleases and thank you, and you treat the people that you love worse than the people that you've never met before. Someone walks up to be your waiter or waitress at a restaurant. Oh, hey, how you doing? You act all sweet to them. You get home and you're all grumpy to the people that have to be with you every day. Like, you have to change that narrative, and you have to be intentional about it. So another topic for another day, but Mel does an excellent job with that in the mornings to set the tone of, like, these are the most important people in our life, and we're not going to take this for granted.
And it is our family value to have gratitude, and I am grateful for my kids. So I make sure I tell them that. They are my good loves after all. Okay, so once they come in, I give them their hug, and they each have a task to do right away. So they alternate. So one kid unstacks the dishwasher. The other kid is in charge of a couple smaller tasks, like getting our ice maker full. So our ice maker's a little strange. Getting the vitamins out. They peel the bananas for their morning shake. And then they do the utensils that are in the dishwasher. And then every day they alternate. So they go back and forth. And the really cool thing too is sometimes if one kid is sick, the other one will step up and do it, or I'll help out. But we're always accountable to getting those things done. And they are accountable to each other. Like, did you do this task? Did you do your job yet? Because they kind of know the order of things. It's almost like a well-oiled machine. We're all kind of doing our thing. We're all buzzing around the kitchen, but it all gets done. Once they finish their kitchen task.
There's a little bit of intentionality behind that I want to mention. You want to build someone's self-confidence, allow them to contribute to an organization. You want to build someone's self-confidence, let them contribute. Don't baby them. Don't hold their hands. Don't do everything for them. If you went to your job and you just sat at your desk all day, how valuable would you feel if no one asked you to do anything or provide any value? How low self-esteem would you develop if people around you you could assume that they thought you weren't worth a lot? Now, we don't call them chores. You want to get kids not to do anything, just call them chores and work. Now, these are their tasks, like Mel said, are contributions. And we talk about this, like, here's what we're going to do for you in the morning. Like, we're not making it transactional, but here's what you get. Like, mom's up, she's making you breakfast. We're going to do our journaling. We're going to help you set up for the day. But we're not going to peel your banana for you. Like, you need to contribute a little bit to make this process possible. You like the jokes in your lunchbox? Well, Mel needs time to write those. She's not going to have time. And, like, they get it. They understand. And their contributions make the morning run so much more efficiently because they do provide value to the morning. And the system works because they're willing to contribute to the organization, and they're valuable, even more valuable because of it, not just because of who they are, but what they are providing to the family.
It really does. Everything runs more smoothly. And even the 5-year-old has to open the freezer to put the ice trays in. So he has a contribution as well, and he loves that. You know, we used to have a dog that all she wanted to do was get the paper. She wanted to contribute, and she gets so excited. And it reminds me of my 5-year-old. Like, he just wants to contribute. It could be a little trickier sometimes. He can't reach where to put the dishes or whatever, but like, he can do something. So find some kind of task, however small, and then they feel valuable and they contribute to the family system.
I had a friend over at the house staying with us, and he loves a story. We were making a fire here. The kids had split some wood, and they had stacked some wood, and when they put some on the deck, so it was out of the snow. And went out and got a couple pieces so we could start the fire. And Everett comes out, the 5-year-old. Can I get one? Sure, Everett. So he goes out and gets a piece of wood and sets it on the pile. One more? Yes, Everett, you can go get one more. He goes outside, gets one piece of wood, sets it on the pile. One more? Over and over again until we had the entire pile from the deck inside in front of our fire pit. Now, the house was freezing, so he had to go in and out of the door so many times. But I wasn't going to tell him no, because he wanted to contribute to something. He wanted to be seen as the stronger one who could provide value, and that is built through things like this morning routine.
Awesome. So after the kids brush their teeth, do their morning workout, they come up and get my hug, and they do the kitchen task. Then they have a journal. And we had this amazing journal that Vince had made. And we do a little bit of what he had in there, but they loved doing that. It was beautiful. So basically, you can have this journal be anything. We decided they have to write down something that they're proud of themselves.
They get to write down.
They get to write down, excuse me. They get to write down something that they are proud of themselves for accomplishing. So it could be something simple from the other day at school. It could simply be that they accomplished their morning task. Anything that they want, that they are proud of themselves for accomplishing, and why.
And as we're stringing this together, if you listen to the last episode on their daily commitments, that is a win for them already. So they always have something that they should be proud of from their goal setting episode, which we put up last. Go ahead.
Right, that's perfect. And then they write down 3 things they're grateful for. Gratitude is one of our family values, and I think there's been studies even shown that if you have a grateful heart and that is your mindset, you will be able to see more good in the world. You look for those things. So 1 thing they're proud of themselves for accomplishing, 3 things they're grateful for, and then also 3 goals for the day. And sometimes it's something simple and sweet, like giving their baby brother a hug. Or it could be something a bit more, like an additional workout or a walk on the street to get the mail. Our mailbox is a half-mile away. But they have to create 3 goals for themselves for that day. And these are not necessarily part of our goal setting, the big yearly vision we talked about in the last podcast, but it's just something that day, just like our journals where we write down the most important tasks of the day. Gets them in that mindset of, what do I want my day to look like? When this day's over, I want to be able to say I accomplished a few things. And only then, after they complete all of those morning things, they can use some tech while eating their breakfast. It's almost like a reward, but if there's no time, there's no time. If there is, then they get that reward.
Future episode on tech time and how we manage that.
Right. But I think when people visit us too, they watch this morning routine. Like, we have a loft upstairs and they kind of hear everything happening in the kitchen. They're like, what's going on down there? Because there's so much like flurry of activity, but everyone just knows exactly what to do and it gets accomplished, and then they have a great start to their day.
Yeah, and it's not like on the weekend it goes away either. Those tasks and contributions still need to exist. Those tasks need to get done. And like we'll have real conversations with them. Like, do you think your mother and I should stop what we're doing in the household that whatever we're working on to crack the ice cube tray, or can you help with that? And it's not minimizing what they do. Those are time consuming tasks, whether we're doing household financial planning or making the kids morning fruit and protein shakes. It's still a quantity of time, and they contribute in a huge way into making this household run more efficiently so that we can do things like the Strong Family Project with you.
Yeah. I think I want to just revisit what you said about this is not a chore, this is a contribution. And I think when they see how that helps me out, I'd have to get up at like 4 a.m. if I had to do it all myself. And I think as soon as they see that they're contributing and helping, it just makes the process go even smoother.
I mentioned this at the beginning, but we're recording this podcast for you. And each episode we do have to edit some. We'll put it up on the strongfamilyproject.com website. We have the email newsletter to then write and to break it down and to give the main points of the episode in an article that we write. And there's a lot of work that goes into producing one of these episodes for you. And right now, my son Henry is sitting next to me on the couch, and he is taking notes because after this, him and Logan are going to take the microphones and they're going to do a kids episode, a kids version, so that they can contribute. Logan's on my phone, which we've got these fancy cameras. I don't even know if they honestly work that well, but we got the cameras because we are putting these episodes up on YouTube as well. And so he's choosing which camera angle to use. They're contributing to this process, and he's figuring it out faster than I could ever figure it out. So they are playing an important role in making this possible as well.
Yeah, they are. I agree 100%. I love it. I love that we can, when Joe and I started this, and I give him so much credit for setting up all the microphones, and I don't understand any of these things, so it's amazing that he put that together. And now the kids, again, they see us accomplishing this goal. They want to be a part of it because we've set up this family environment where we all want to contribute. And sometimes the opportunity presents itself, and then even a bigger amazing thing happens. Like yesterday when they started to do the kids edition, I had no idea they'd be willing to sit down right away. And that was probably just the best piece for me as a mom. I teared up a little bit because I was so proud that they wanted to jump in there and contribute in this amazing way. I love it.
She's over there trying to hold it all together right in front of them while they're executing on the podcast, asking each other questions, working on communication skills, having things to talk about, and contributing in a positive way. And so a good way to start this process is to get a good morning routine. You can control the morning better than you can control most of the rest of the day. In the book, The Power of Habit, they talk about willpower being like a muscle. It is freshest when it's not tired. When you're in the morning, you have the most willpower. Do the hard tasks in the morning. At the end of the day, when you're all gassed, that's when people get that ice cream out and that pizza and they lose their willpower. You don't hear many stories where people wake up and be like, wow, I need a pizza and some ice cream. Like they have enough willpower and knowledge to know like that's not a great time for it. Now it wears down during the day. So to set up you for success, we're starting with the morning routine because it is the highest likelihood that you can set this up. What are some possible pitfalls people might have with a morning routine to prep them ahead of time, Mel?
Some pitfalls. I think overcomplicating it.
Mm-hmm.
I think keeping it simple. And I think at the beginning, we tacked tasks on as we went along, but keeping it simple and finding something for each person to contribute. So always starting simple, I think, is best. And consistency. Like you said, on the weekends, yes, the kids sleep in a little bit, but they still need to do it on the weekends. And another pitfall I think that came up initially was a lot of hemming and hawing and complaining when we first started doing this. Because kids saw it as a chore, but we kind of shifted their mindset. And over time, we've been doing this for well over a year now. And now it's just routine. It's just what they expect. It just happens. So I think if you can push through that initial potential pushback that they're giving you, then you will see the results come after that.
Yeah, you'll get pushback when you ask anyone to do anything. And so if you can just calmly keep a low heart rate and work through it and make it part of your system, it is going to build their self-confidence. It is going to build their skill set. It's going to build their habits. And speaking of habits, I do have the book that I wrote my children last year and I gave to them as a gift. And there was a page on habits that I wanted to open up to because this morning routine is just a way of saying morning habits. And so it'll provide a little perspective on the pitfalls as well. There was a page called Habits Are Easy. Building good habits is easy. Building bad habits is easy. It takes the same amount of time to do one or the other. Sitting on your hands and not doing anything is easy. Scheduling your days and living with purpose is also easy. Eating a steak salad is just as easy as eating a bowl of trash mac and cheese. If you take things a day at a time, it's not very hard. But things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. Hold yourself accountable and don't build things up as hard when it's really simple. And so start with one little thing at a time, implement it into the system. Don't get this huge vision of a morning routine, like a bugle going off like this is the military, and the bugle goes off and the people pop to attention, and all of a sudden you've added 75 things that they do before they go to school. No, keep it simple. The goal is to teach them the value of a morning routine, teach them the value of their contribution, teach them the value of some exercise, teach them the value of some gratitude, and you can do it in whatever simple way fits for your family. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Strong Family Project. I would encourage you to go over to strongfamilyproject.com so you can get the full 7 elements of the path. This is episode 3, and I'm feeling a little bit better about this one. Maybe a 6.5. We're getting some momentum going, and the best thing you can do to keep this momentum going and keep the knowledge and wisdom being shared with you is to engage in the process. We love purposeful parenting, and this whole internet thing's a little weird for us because we don't get to see and talk to people yet until we start the in-person events. But in the meantime, you can engage, you can drop us a message, shoot us an email, comment on YouTube, and ask a question that we can cover in the next podcast. And if you think we provided some value to your life, please give it a subscribe and a 5-star review. Mel, anything else?
Just start somewhere and build it up. I'm excited to see, and I'd love to actually hear if you want to share any of your morning routines, then we could maybe tweak ours and add something interesting.